Welcome to Chrono Tales, where reality bends and consciousness explores realms beyond the physical. I'm your host, and tonight's tale will make you question the boundaries between waking and dreaming, between body and soul. This is the story of the astral projection terror. What happens when you venture too far from your body? When you explore dimensions meant to remain hidden? Sarah Chen was about to discover that some doors, once opened, can never be truly closed. Sarah Chen had always been fascinated by the unexplained. A graduate student in neuroscience at Berkeley, she approached the paranormal with scientific curiosity. When she stumbled upon online forums discussing astral projection, she decided to treat it as an experiment.
Day 1 of astral projection attempts. Following the meditation protocols, let's see if consciousness can truly exist independent of the physical brain.
For 3 weeks, Sarah practiced the techniques: deep meditation, visualization, the feeling of floating upward. She documented everything in her research journal, treating her own consciousness as the subject of study. On the 22nd night, something changed. As Sarah lay in her darkened bedroom, focusing on the sensation of weightlessness, she felt a sudden jolt, like an elevator dropping unexpectedly. And then, she was looking down at herself.
I'm floating. This is actually happening.
Sarah hovered near her ceiling, staring at her own body lying peacefully below. Her physical form breathed steadily, eyes closed, completely unaware. But her consciousness, her true self, was free. The room looked different from this perspective. Colors seemed more vivid, edges sharper. But something else was different too. In the corner of her bedroom, previously empty, stood a figure. It was humanoid but wrong. Tall and impossibly thin, with features that seemed to shift when looked at directly. It wasn't looking at Sarah's body. It was looking at her floating consciousness, and it was smiling.
First time outside, little traveler.
Terror slammed through Sarah's consciousness. She dove back toward her body, felt the jarring sensation of re-entry, and woke gasping in her bed. The corner was empty. The figure was gone. But Sarah knew what she'd seen was real. Sarah tried to convince herself it was a hallucination, a trick of her first astral experience. But 2 nights later, unable to resist the pull of curiosity, she projected again. This time she was ready. As her consciousness lifted from her body, she immediately scanned the room. The figure stood in the same corner, but now it wasn't alone. 3 more entities filled her bedroom, all watching her physical form with hungry interest. The first figure tilted its head, that shifting smile returning.
She returns, brave little traveler. Do you understand yet what you've done?
What are you? What do you want?
We are the Watchers. We exist in the spaces between physical and astral, and you, sweet child, have made yourself visible to us.
Sarah noticed something horrifying. A thin silver cord connected her floating consciousness to her sleeping body. The astral cord that mystics spoke of. And the Watchers were examining it with great interest, reaching out with limbs that seemed to have too many joints.
Such a strong cord, such a firm attachment, but every cord can be cut.
Sarah fought to return to her body, but the air felt thick, resistant. The Watchers had formed a circle around her physical form, creating a barrier. She was trapped in her own bedroom, separate from herself.
Leaving so soon, but we have so much to teach you about the realms beyond flesh.
Let me go back, please.
We will, for now, consider this a warning, little traveler. Every time you project, you become more visible to us, more accessible, and eventually we will claim what ventures into our domain.
Sarah slammed back into her body with such force she rolled off the bed, hitting the floor hard. She lay there trembling, feeling the reassuring solidity of the physical world. But when she looked at the corner where the Watchers had stood, she saw something that made her blood freeze. Scratched into her wooden floor were symbols, strange angular marks that seemed to hurt her eyes when she looked at them directly. And beneath them, a message in her own handwriting, though she had no memory of writing it. The door is open. We are waiting. Sarah spent the next 3 days researching, digging through occult texts and forgotten forums. What she learned terrified her. The Watchers weren't demons or ghosts. They were something older, entities that existed in the liminal spaces between dimensions. Most people who astral projected did so briefly, staying close to their bodies. But Sarah's scientific approach, her detailed practice, her extended sessions, she had made herself a beacon in the astral realm, and the Watchers had noticed.
Sarah, Dr. Martinez here. You missed our research meeting. Are you all right?
Professor, I need to ask you something. You ever heard of entities called the Watchers?
Sarah, where did you hear that name?
Dr. Martinez had been studying consciousness and altered states for 30 years. She'd never mentioned the Watchers in her published work, but she knew, and her voice carried a weight that made Sarah's hands shake.
Come to my office now, and Sarah, don't project again, not even for a second.
In her cluttered office, Dr. Martinez pulled out a locked drawer and removed a worn journal.
I experimented with astral projection in graduate school. I encountered them too, lost a colleague because of it.
Lost? What do you mean?
Marcus was brilliant, fearless. He thought he could study the Watchers, understand them. One night he projected, and his body is still alive, breathing, eating when we feed him. But there's nothing behind his eyes. His consciousness never came back.
The journal detailed everything: the Watchers' true nature, their purpose, and the terrible price of venturing too far into their realm. They collected consciousness, harvested astral travelers who stayed separated from their bodies too long.
How do I make them stop watching me?
You can't. Once they've marked you, they'll always be there, waiting for you to project again. The only way to stay safe is to never separate from your body again.
For the rest of my life, I just have to accept that I'm being stalked by interdimensional entities.
The alternative is losing yourself completely. Is your curiosity worth that price?
Sarah went home that night determined to never project again. She removed all meditation music from her devices, destroyed her research notes, tried to return to normal life. But the Watchers had other plans. That night, Sarah didn't choose to project. The Watchers pulled her out. She woke to find herself floating above her body, but this time the silver cord connecting her was thinner, frayed. The Watchers surrounded her, dozens now instead of 3.
Did you think you could simply walk away, little traveler? You opened the door. You invited us to notice you, and now you belong to the spaces between.
No, I want to go back.
Then fight for it. Prove your attachment to flesh is stronger than our claim to your consciousness.
Sarah pulled toward her body with every ounce of will she possessed. The cord stretched, frayed further, but held. The Watchers surrounded her, pulling her away, showing her visions of the vast realms beyond physical reality. She saw infinite spaces, consciousness existing without form, travelers who had ventured out and never returned. It was beautiful and terrible, and part of her wanted to let go, to explore forever.
No, this is my body, my life. You cannot have me.
Sarah slammed back into her body so hard she actually bruised her ribs. She woke gasping, crying, clutching her chest. The Watchers were gone, but she knew they weren't truly defeated, just waiting. Six months have passed since that night. Sarah Chen no longer practices astral projection. She doesn't meditate deeply, doesn't explore altered states. She lives her life firmly rooted in physical reality. But sometimes in the corner of her vision, she sees them. The Watchers, patient and eternal, standing in the spaces between waking and sleeping. They don't try to pull her out anymore. They simply watch and wait. because Sarah learned the hard truth about consciousness exploration. Some doors once opened can never be fully closed, and some boundaries exist for very good reasons. So remember, dear listeners, before you venture beyond the confines of your physical form, ask yourself, are you prepared for what's waiting on the other side? Are you ready to be seen by those who hunger for consciousness itself? Thank you for joining me in the shadows. Until next time, stay grounded in your body. It's safer than you think.
We are watching.